Tell us a little about Vagabond Tiny Homes, if I'm pronouncing that right.
Yes, that's right. Vagabond Haven tiny homes. Basically, because we wanted to create a haven for all vagabonds, and that's what tiny houses is about. So I started a company in 2017 because I was really interested in. I have always been interested in architecture. I stumbled across tiny houses during my travels and just found this must be the big new living revolution because tiny houses give you not only a cheap house but also a mobile house, so you can move your home with you. So I basically started this company around this dream of creating a more mobile, flexible way of living. And in the first years, I built the houses myself, tested a lot of different designs and also ways how to build for customers, very customized houses, big houses, smaller houses, houses that can only be pulled with a tractor. And then basically later on, I ended up on building these houses that we have now. We have 6 models, which are 3.5-ton houses. So in Europe, they can be pulled behind a normal car, which makes them super mobile because you can pull them with 80 kilometers an hour on the highway and travel basically from country to country, setting up your house wherever you want. Yeah, we basically have now 6 models, which after all of these years of testing, we found to be the most beautiful, the most functional.
I'd actually like to stop you over there because the first tiny house that intrigued me and we decided to cover it on Homecrux was Maya. The reason being, I come from India, and the biggest reason to cover this was because Maya has its origin in Sanskrit roots. So, how did you get to that?
Yeah, I know. Isn't Buddha's mother, is she called Maya, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so my daughter is called Maya. So this model is called after my daughter, my
Oh,
older
wonderful,
daughter, Maya.
wonderful.
Yeah.
So, how much does it actually cost to build one tiny home? And I'd also like you to include the wages and salaries of the people and the carpenters or any other people who are associated with it.
Oh, it's
What is
very
that
difficult.
profit margin that you actually make out of it?
What's the profit margin we have to make out of it? Well, it's very difficult to tell you because we have houses from basically empty shell to fully furnished off-grid models, and they can range in building cost and carpenters and everything from something like 30,000 euros to 60, 70,000 euros. So it's very different depending on the equipment basically and on the model.
So, what all challenges you had to face while you were building all these initial tiny homes? Do you still come across same challenges now as well?
Yes, I mean, I don't know how it is in India, but in Europe, tiny houses are still kind of a new thing. So we're based in Sweden, and the tiny house revolution started basically with my company here in Sweden. So we just had to have and still have to deal with a lot of obstacles when it comes to infrastructure around tiny houses. It's very hard to find financing. There's no clear rules on where and how to set up a tiny house, basically. There's no set of just, fixed insurances that you can buy as a normal home insurance. It is both positive and negative because it's kind of a gray zone. So our customers usually fall in between somehow because the houses are mobile. So often they can just set up their house anyway way because there's no clear rules for it. And then if there's a problem, they can move it. So, but that also makes it a bit difficult, as a business to what can I recommend my customers, where to put up their house and so on. So
You
that's
brought
still.
you brought business into the conversation, so I was really intrigued to know that pandemic left every big small business in shambles. Did it impact yours as well?
I actually thought it would. The first 2 months of COVID, people didn't buy any houses from us because they were holding on to their money for dear life, basically. But then, as with the real estate and other businesses, our business boomed because in a way, tiny houses is a crisis solution. You know, people can afford a tiny house much better than any other living home. So we actually built more tiny houses than ever during the pandemic. The only problem was, of course, getting the materials to build the tiny homes. We had to go through a lot of what do you call it? Just find wood for building the houses from different places and so on. So that was a bit of a challenge.
So where are you selling right now? You're just selling in Sweden or you're exporting outside as well?
From the start, we have been focused on Scandinavia. So that's Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Finland. But we take customers from all of Europe. And we have now started retailerships in all of Europe. So in all of Europe, basically, we now have settled retailerships, and that will be easy. We're also open to other countries outside of Europe. But then, of course, transport costs become a thing where we have to look into, is it really interesting to build a tiny house, you know, say for the US or for other parts of the world, because it might not be interesting to deliver them from Europe to these parts of the world.
So there's a thing in furniture design that we see there are two people or two organizations who are collaborating with each other. Europe also has many tiny house builders with the likes of Blueshon. So did you ever thought of collaborating with the likes of any tiny house builders?
Yeah, I mean, that could be interesting, of course. I get a lot of requests from all over the world if we want to have our houses built by them or basically use the designs they build. It can be from China to any country, basically. It could be interesting. I always think it's really good to start to take things slowly and rather do them well. So we focused very hard on creating a good product that we know works in Europe, and then basically then we can start looking at the bigger picture.
So one more thing that I'd like to ask you is I came across one of your tiny homes. I'm not able to recall it properly, but I guess it's named LEC Tiny Homes, which had a
That's
raised living room. So that was something very new, and I don't think anybody in the tiny house industry has ever done it before. What are your thoughts on that?
I've seen actually other houses like that, at least one or two models, but I
But
do a
I
lot
guess
of
they're lofts. They're not at the basement level. They're lofts.
but still I've seen
Yours
that
was not a
basically,
loft, and it was not at the basement level. It was somewhere in the
yeah.
middle.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I love this model because it basically connects. It makes it makes that the house is more spacious, feels more spacious. We have the living room on top of this loft and a sleeping room underneath, basically connecting the entire house. And that's what we lean towards more and more with building our houses, to not separate the rooms as much, to create an open space, because the open space makes the tiny house feels big despite it having a very small area. So that's basically every customer that comes and sees our houses, they start outside and then they say, oh yeah, that's a tiny little house. And then they come inside and say, wow, this is big. I mean, I can imagine to live here. So that's a really good review for us if we get this. And with Elise, we try to create this kind of spaciousness, despite it having like a really large kitchen, a big bathroom, and two places to sleep, one under the loft and one above the loft, above the bathroom.
All right. So what are your future plans? When can we actually expect another tiny home from you, especially with Christmas coming?
We are basically now so happy that we have just focused on, we have 6 models. We just put out our smallest home, Sophia, so called after my younger daughter, which is our smallest home because we get more and more requests from companies that want to set up tiny houses as holiday rentals or, you know, for refugees and so on. So this is a very affordable, super cozy house. And so we're kind of happy with the range that we can offer now. We don't want to add anything more in the next year or so.
So we in this industry have been hearing a lot about Scandinavian design, but I've not met a person who could actually give me a precise definition of what Scandinavian design is. I'd like to ask you the same.
Yeah, I mean, what I think when I think Scandinavian design is kind of downscaled. You in the color scheme, it's softer colors, very clean colors from white tones to very few colors, so that again spaciousness gets increased. It's not minimalistic because it's still kind of homely. So we often have elements of a wooden look. So we have combined kind of modern materials with a wooden, traditional materials. What else can one say about Scandinavian design? Yeah, I think that's basically summarizing it as much as I can summarize it.
All right, Manuel, it was wonderful talking to you. And I guess in the latter half now we could actually, if possible, you could give us a tour of your tiny home.
Yes, let's start. So I guess we just start outside. So take a dip into the gray November, December weather of Sweden. So it's not very comfortable outside. So this is the tiny house from the outside.
There's just one entry or we have two entry?
Yes, there's one entry.
All
We
right.
have a gable roof on this tiny house.
And it's built on a double axle trailer.
On a double axle trailer, exactly.
Yeah.
This is to bring down weight a little bit because, as I said, in Europe we have the rule that houses have to be built below 3.5 tons. So we're fighting with every kilogram we can save on these builds. In here, we try to create one big room basically in this tiny house to make it feel as spacious as possible. And we do this by basically not putting up a lot of things on the walls and raising the roof as high as we can. In Europe, we're have a limit because we cannot build higher than 4 meters to drive them on the road. So this is what we did. And in this tiny house, which is our medium sized tiny house, we basically have 2 sleeping areas. One is the couch below here.
All right. So this gets turned into a bed or what?
Exactly. So this can be turned into a 140 bed.
Right.
And then the second sleeping area is on top of the loft, which you will see soon, which is a 140 bed as well. So it's basically for 2 to 4 people, depending on how close you can sleep to each other. In this house, we have two ways of heating the house. One is the air-to-air heat pump, which will be used for heating in the winter and cooling in the summer. It's a very efficient way to heat the house and practical to have this combination of being able to heat it, to cool it in the summer. And then we have our customer's favorite, which is the wood stove. And this is really super cozy here in Scandinavia.
It's beautiful.
We love it. Yeah, it's a UK model salamander hobbit. It's really cute, and it has this big window despite it being so small, so you can see the fire crackling there in the winter. If we move on, we have the kitchen here with a lot of storage space in this kitchen. We basically have a small fridge, storage space here, storage space in this cupboard. Probably this is not used for kitchen, but it's used for clothes and other things. On this side, we have the sink, some practical sockets, an induction cooktop, and an electrical oven. And then we have more storage space in these drawers.
Very nice.
The table is a fold-down table, so if you want to have more space, if you don't use the kitchen, then you can just, I will not do this now because it will take me too long to take everything away, but you can fold down the table very
This
easily.
can be used as a dining as well.
This can be used for dining or, when you work, sit with your laptop, you can sit at this table and work from it. You have this beautiful view outside, basically, to when you eat or work. We can move on into the little bathroom here. In this bathroom, I hope you see well enough. We have a toilet, which is a Scandinavian design. It's called separate. So it's basically a composting toilet.
All right.
We have a very tiny little washing basin. Here you see another heating device, which is an infrared mirror. So you get heat in the bathroom as well, which is important so that the most moist room doesn't get too wet. And here's the boiler for the hot water, which will be distributed to the shower. And in this model, we have a shower with a glass wall. There's also, of course, more economic options like a shower curtain, but I think this is more beautiful and practical and hygienic. The floor in this house is a laminate floor, which is really beautiful, I think, and practical as well because it's very resistant, more resistant. We also built wooden floors, but it is tougher than the wooden floors. So this is a super option, I think, if you want to have a carefree floor. As you see here, this stair can basically be put away, be used for storage as well.
Oh, very nice. Wonderful.
And then you can have storage in a lot of different places. If you go up the stair, we come to the upper area, the loft, which is basically, right now it's just furnished for sleeping, but of course you could have some cupboards there as well. Yes. If you want to have a look down from this side, this is
it is beautiful. It looks beautiful.
And this model we also have in another slightly different variant, which is that the door comes in a little bit, and then we have a small terrace on the outside. So that could also be very cozy if you want to sit outside in the summer. Do you have any questions, or would you like to see anything?
I really wanted to ask you this one thing. So, how often do you get orders? Is it like 1, 2, or 3 orders a month?
Right now, we get about 1 order per week and deliver 1 house per week. So we
One
get
order for a week.
Yeah, so we have.
And how much time would it take to build a tiny home?
It's a bit difficult to say all in all because we built, 16 houses around, we built about 5 houses per month. I mean, so we built. What does that mean? I think it's the building time is probably around 3 months for 1 tiny house.
All right. So you have all those houses in store, and then people could actually walk up to you and tell you, I want a model like Maya, or I want a model like LAC. Are you also open for customizations? What if there's a person who comes up to you and says, no, I really want to tweak something with this, if you can start from the scratch? Are you open for that option as well?
Yeah, we now do these 2 options basically, that we have ready-built models, which we furnish according to what we think is like a very practical, clever way to equip them. And so we have a couple of models ready for immediate delivery, basically, for the customers that say, I need a tiny house tomorrow. And then we have the option that people can order a totally customized model from us. And then we basically give the option one starts from the empty house, and then one can add anything one wants, just the bathroom, just the kitchen, or any furniture that one wants. And on top of that, off-grid solution from solar panels to water tanks, rainwater harvesting systems, and so forth. And then one can also choose the colors of basically every detail in the house, from the windows to the floor to the walls and furniture. And one can choose between our different eco-friendly materials, from recycled textile solution to insulation to sheep wool insulation, thermowood or cedar or spruce facades, and so forth. There's a lot of different options. And we probably sell about half ready-built models, for customers who just are happy to get a model that is ready and that we have basically designed ourselves. And then half of the customers are really want to make their own and customize it according to their requirements.
All right, Manuel, it was really wonderful having a chat with you. And I hope that we're going to collaborate for more such sessions in the future as well.
Thank you so much. It was
And I
really
hope
nice
you read
meeting.
Homecrux because we've been continuously tagging you in multiple posts and we have covered 3 or 4 tiny homes as of now, and we look forward to cover more.
I will read it more. I have seen a few articles, but yeah, thanks so much for this. And thanks a lot for taking the time.
Thank you, Manuel. It was really nice having a chat with you.
Bye.